Hey, good evening, everybody. My name's Dave Gruger. I've been hearing a lot, and we've discussed a lot, and there's been back and forth on a couple of things. I've seen a video recently where someone was trying to explain our SID and how our SID works. So I'm gonna do a few videos here. This is the first of them. And I'm going to try and dive into some of the law that governs us and explain what a SID is and the purpose of a SID. So, without any further ado, here we go. So, simply put, it's a special taxing district. In Arkansas, Suburban Improvement Districts, or SID, is a government or quasi government created by legislation with taxing authority. And depending on your SID, or SIDs differ from place to place here. Some are formed to help develop roads and streets, or fire departments, or they provide security, or water. They do water departments under SIDs. And even sewer departments. But our SID in its current form is here because of the lakes, golf courses, pools, rec centers, and we are governed by a few laws. And when you look at these laws, you have to make sure that we haven't been specifically excluded from them. There's several laws and several acts that will say something, to some verbiage to the effect of, with the exception of districts formed or created before 19 whatever. And there's some of them out there that do that actually includes or that excludes us specifically, since we were the first SID and we were back that far. So I'm going to try in this, I'm also going to try to explain where the debate has been going on of whether we're paying an assessment, or a tax, or a fee. And then we're going to get into what the tax is, which is the levy of tax that the commissioners put on us each year when they do the equalized assessment report to the county collector, no later than December 15th of each year. So we're going to try and explain this in a way that is simple and easy to understand, and I can show you where in the law, black and white, it does this. So we had a class action lawsuit that was filed in 2018 because SID it came in and they wanted to reassess, and they added something like $80 million worth of assessment, where they added in streets and roads and fire departments, so on and so forth. Just those things, those two things alone, was like $80 million increase into our assessment. In the lawsuit, contested that the assessment had long been paid off, so any further assessment would be a illegal exaction on the taxpayers of the district. There was a few other things that the lawsuit was saying. At the time, SID was giving the city $600,000 or $800,000 a year, and for the streets and roads, well, the city could put it anywhere as they want. We can, I supported the lawsuit. We were saying that SID can't expend funds on anything they don't own, so therefore the money they were giving the city was also an illegal exaction on the taxpayers, since they had no obligation to give money to the city. And the city, by law, they're mandated to provide three simple services. Streets and roads is one of them. They have to provide that by law. Fire department or fire protection, they have to provide that by law, and they have to provide police or law enforcement. So when the city incorporated, by all rights, SID should have handed over everything concerning the fire departments and streets and roads that they were doing and so on and so forth, and quit taxing, remove that from any assessment they may have. So after a couple of years, SID, the plaintiff, in the city, as well as American Land Company, all came to an agreement or a settlement, and they all signed off on it. And there were several things that this did. Number one, it ended the contract with ALC, since ALC wasn't fulfilling the contract anyways. It also came up. It gave the SID an assessment to work on, which I think was like 40 or a little over $40 million. And that was to be backdated to start at 2019. Unlike our current general manager, who seems to think it was 2022 was the first year of that assessment. Well, the plaintiffs weren't going to give SID free money for 2 to 3 years, so it was backdated to where, of course, the suit was filed in 2018 over the 2018 reassessment. So they went back to 2019 as the start of this assessment, which puts us at a payoff at 2034, 9 years from now, if we stay at the current 10% levy tax that the commissioners put on us each year. It took us from 3 lifetime self-appointed unelected commissioners to making a 5-position commissioner board. All of the positions are 4-year terms. The first year election, we elected 3 commissioners. 2 of the existing commissioners got to stay on for another 2 years. And in that 2 years, the election came up, and we elected our final 2 commissioners. So it's offset. Every 2 years, we have an election. This year, 2025, October's meeting, we have our nominations for the 26th election. And in January, we have our elections for 3 commissioners. Or re-election if they decide to run. So that the lawsuit gave us that. It got away. It got rid of the lifetime self-appointing, commissioners. It also, like I said, sent the new assessment of benefit, a little over $40 million, I believe, if I'm not wrong, for SID to use, and it was to start at 2019. The math to figure out our assessment or our tax that we pay each year they got that from a previous lawsuit that had been adjudicated, which set this precedence, and that math is based on the 2021 property value or land value from county. So it's county appraised land value of 2021 times 34%, and that's your assessed value. Then the commissioners each year, by December 15th, they have to turn into the county collector a equalized assessment, and then they levy a tax to be collected by the county collector, which we're currently running 10%. So whatever your number came out of your county appraised land value times the 34%, multiply that by 10%, and that's your yearly tax, the levy tax that you get on your county bill each year. And as you can see here, I've got it kind of somewhat laid out. Land value times 34% times percent equals your levied SID tax. So no, the tax is not based on lot size or street frontage like I've heard recently. It's based off of this formula, based off the land value of 2021, and it stays that land value used as 2021 until this assessment's paid off. So it'll stay the same from now until the end. or it should have stayed the same from beginning to the end. I have a feeling it's been fluctuating based off of county land value changes, and it should not be. Anyways, it also set a cap on which stops SID from going above a certain an amount assessment. And that cap was set at $7,400 for lots located on the lake and the golf courses. Just a side note here: before the 2018 lawsuit was filed, SID was actually using $7,400 as an assessment on every lot. It's just they were only charging 4.5% at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So the big jump for the lake lots and the golf courses that you're seeing is because the commissioners have us at 10% rather than 4.5%, what you're used to. This equals up if your lot is capped out at $7,400. You pay. I mean, that lot pays $740 each year until they change the percentage that they levy against us or the assessment's paid off. If your lot is an interior lot, those are capped at $3,400, and that equals out to $340 each year if your property value reaches that cap. Like me, I've got 9 properties. 2 of them are, I think I pay, I forget, it's a little over the $90 or $900 average that is being assessed, and then the rest of them are at $90 a lot, or $900 assessment. Then I've got commercial property that I pay $340 a year on, and that's because it's maxed out at value at $3,400. So the way the lawsuit came up with the math, like I said, was from previous lawsuit that had been adjudicated. It wasn't just pulled out of the air, and there's been some discussion back and forth on it's unfair. The lake and golf course lots are paying more than the interior lots, and the reasoning, I think, that from what I understood from this lawsuit that they used, or they had to use, that set this precedence, was because the SID asset, the lake or golf course, adds more value to your lot than it does to the one across the street or 10 miles down the road that doesn't have frontage on that lot. And yes, your ad valorem tax is higher because of that too, but it's just how this lawsuit had put it. So moving on, we're going to go over, eventually I'm going to go over all these taxes in later videos. So what I'm going to hit tonight is 1492-228 and 1492-230. That kind of gives the guidance or outline of how SID can collect on what drives that. So if y'all want to come back and get these and look them up, you can Google them. Just put Arkansas Code 14 whatever that is, and then you can read for yourself. But I'm gonna be cutting and pasting the law straight in here. So here's 1492-228, levy of tax. And again, a lot of this that we're going to be reading, it says levy of tax. It refers to everything as a tax or tax, other than assessment of benefit. So nowhere's in any of the law that I've read actually says anything about a fee. And I could be wrong, but everything I'm reading here, and every one of those laws you saw on the previous slide, it says it's the tax. So the Board of Commissioners of a Suburban Improvement District shall, doesn't say maybe or you can, it says shall. And my time is doing commercial electrical engineering. Shall means you will. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think that's the same meaning in law. Shall means yes, do it. So anyways, at this shall at the time of the assessment of benefits is equalized, or at any time thereafter, enter upon its record an order which shall have the full force of judgment, providing that there shall be assessed upon real property of the district a tax, there's that tax again, sufficient to pay the estimated cost of the improvement, with 10% added for unforeseen contingencies. Second part says a tax, there's that word again, tax, not fee, is to be paid by real property in the district in proportion to the amount of the assessment of benefits thereon, and is to be paid in annual installments not exceeding 10% for any 1 year as provided in the order. The tax is so levied shall be a lien upon all real property in the district. A lien on the real property, not the person that's supposed to be paying the tax. It follows. In other words, this supports what I've said all along. The levy or the assessment follows the property, not the person. And just because somebody didn't pay their taxes for 3 years and lost their lot, that still means there's a previous owed tax, the levy of tax owed on those properties. So you can have 3 years of property. And just because they're sitting down at Commissioner of State Lands doesn't mean that the assessment stops on those properties or the levy of tax stops on those properties. They continue. The law says that the Commissioner of State Land does not pay any taxes, therefore, or SID taxes, so they don't have to pay it. Just because they don't have to pay it don't mean it stopped. I think I was told the state highway department, they do not pay any kind of like ad valorem or SID taxes as well. But every other property, as this law says, that assessment of benefits is to be paid, or is on assessed upon the real property of the district. It says so every piece of property that was included in the creation documents of a suburban improvement district should be assessed, number one, and should be paying the annual levy of tax. Now, by December 10th, or I'm sorry, it's December 15th of each year, the commissioners have to, SID has to provide the county collector with an equalized assessment and a levy of tax. So that's where all this comes in, but or that's where and then the levy of tax is what you see on your tax bill. You'll see ad valorem taxes, and then you'll see another line item that is the suburban improvement tax. I'll get into it later in one of the laws I've got here, where it actually says that your SID tax is to be paid before anything else. Well, actually, it says right here in line item B, the tax so levy shall be a lien on all real property, which means that it follows the property in the district from the time it is levied, and shall be entitled to preference over all demands. So in other words, that means that you got to pay that before you do your ad valorem taxes. So the county collector, when they take your money, you can't just say, I'm mad at SID this year, I'm not paying them. That's not how it works. The county collector has to apply whatever you give them to the SID tax first. Then if there's anything left over, it gets applied to your ad valorem tax. So 1492-230 is extension and collection of taxes. So the important part that I think here is this explains the duties of the county clerk and the county collector and such. If you look at 2A, it says it shall be the duty of the clerk for the county to extend the taxes annually upon the tax books of the county until the levy is exhausted. So they are supposed to be keeping the books on how much has been paid on how much lot or which lot, and when that gets paid off in their books, they quit sending a bill to it, because that levy on their or their assessment has been exhausted, or has been satisfied, or has been paid off, however you want to word it. And in there's some SIDs that aren't mandated by law for the county to handle all this. They can vote to choose to collect it themselves. Our SID happens to be a statutory requirement, meaning that we have no other choice but have the county collect and keep the books. And because of that, they get 1.5%. So if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 3% total. 1.5 goes to the county clerk, and 1.5 would go to the county assessor. So each one, that's money that the county can get for doing this. So again, down here on B1AI, it says it shall be the duty of the tax collector of the county to collect each year the taxes extended upon the books, along with other taxes, until the entire levy is exhausted. So again, tax. It's not a fee, tax. And I'll get into a little bit more about the difference between a fee and the tax that people seem to be arguing about, which I argue about too. So if we go on to the next one, this is a continuation of that law that I copied and pasted. It says, in counties operating under a unit tax ledger system, the collector shall receive commission. Again, it's talking about what they get out of for keeping the books for us, but they're supposed to send us a data dump or whatever of their books, so that SID should have a copy of what's going on, and the assessor would be able to keep up with it or look for any errors if there are any. If you look down at number 2D or D at the very bottom here of the page, I underlined those that verbiage under there. It's not like that in the law, but I wanted to draw attention to it. So it says a property owner shall be required to pay applicable suburban improvement taxes. Again, taxes, not fees. Provided in the subchapter as prerequisite to paying his or her ad valorem real property taxes. So in 1492-230, it specifically says that counties should be applying any money you give them first to the SID tax, and then secondly to the ad valorem taxes. So there it is in black and white. So where's the tax come in, and why do some call it a fee? I think it's just SID is trying to understand all the facets of the laws that govern us. It confuses people, as well as years and years and years of SID calling it a fee, and when they didn't. I don't think they understood this part of any of this law, that it's not called a fee; it's a tax. What they levy is a tax. I guess you could call the assessment portion of what's going on a fee, but in my mind, a fee is what you pay to get into the swimming pool over here. That's a user fee. So as I say in this text here, as shown in the previous slide, it is a tax we pay. And as much as our commissioners and GM would like for you to believe, and as I've proven in previous slides here with the actual law, we pay our SID tax on the current year, unlike ad valorem taxes, which is a year behind. And I bring this up because at a recent meeting on August 8th, I brought to the attention that it is the current year that we're paying the SID tax, not the previous year, or a year behind like our county. And I got head shaking no from our GM and commissioners. So here, in the laws above, it does say that it is for when they report on December 15th is for the following, or the following year, the upcoming year. So again, the easiest way to describe this is, folks are calling what we pay off our county tax bill a fee. It's actually the assessment put on each parcel within the district. The tax, where it comes in, is what we were billed from county collector on our tax bill. This is the levy of tax that we saw in the law previously, and you'll see that in other laws. That is set by the commissioners each year annually, usually in December, before December 15th deadline. Could be the November, it'll be our November probably that they do this, because I think December 15th is before our December meeting if they have one. So they gotta report that to the county on December 15th. And I'll quote statute, Arkansas statute 1492-220. It says, and I've got in quotation mark, this is straight out of the law, to levy the necessary tax against the assessment of benefits. So again, we're saying that the commissioners, what they turn in as a levy is the tax, which I explain here in the next paragraph. Also, a side note, unlike county ad valorem taxes, if you miss 2 years of paying your county taxes, they certify it to the Commissioner of State Lands for non-payment of taxes. That's after 2 years. SID, once the county certifies to SID that in the first year that your SID tax has not been paid, SID can in fact foreclose on your property right then. They can start the process for that. So again, it's not like the ad valorem taxes that takes 2 years of non-payment. They can do it the first year you're in delinquent. Will they do it? No, I don't think so. They voted to quit selling property, unless I guess it'd be someone wants that property pretty bad. I don't know. I don't see it happening, but they can do it. So another thing I've been hearing and I've seen on other videos is, the folks that after the settlement they went and paid off their assessment, so they don't receive a tax bill anymore from the county on it. After 10 years, they're going to have to start paying assessments again, because the commissioners are going to reassess, and whatever they come up with, that's what they're going to have to pay. That's misleading, because unless the only way our SID can reassess is to do a capital improvement or purchase a asset or a new amenity. In later videos, I'll get involved why even if we did capital improvements, why it would hurt. But so yes, no. The answer is no. They can't just reassess us in 2034 because they want to continue SID. And 2034, 9 years from now, is when the SID's going to be in. 2034, 2035, there's going to be no money coming in whatsoever. So those folks that have paid theirs off, no. In 9 years, the only way they can have to start paying SID again is if, again, the SID goes in and does a capital improvement or purchase a new amenity. That's the only way. And then only that capital improvement will be an assessment. It won't be, SID cannot use any of the amenities that we currently have to reassess. It's because it's been paid off. And I hate to say it, but if you're looking to buy here, you're going to buy a home, build a home, when you do it, you may want to talk to your loan lending firm or lending company or bank or whoever's going to carry your mortgage. And I would suggest taking out the extra, going down and finding out how much is owed on that piece of property for the SID assessment, current SID assessment, and ask the bank for that much extra and pay it off. That way you don't have to worry about, if you don't, up to 6, right? If they stay at the current 10%, 6% of that is just gone. It doesn't go to work down your principal on the assessment that you owe. So I would say, if you can get rid of it. In most cases, interior lots, you're looking at $90 or $900. No more than 340 or 3,040. Yeah, I'm sorry, 3,400. If you're going to build on a lake, you're looking at no more than $7,400 just to get rid of that. And remember, your tax each year, that number that we talked about before, the county land value times 34%. That is always going to be based off 2021 land value, or at least it should be, and it needs to be corrected if they haven't been doing it that way. So thanks for kind of sitting in with me. I'm sorry if I drug this out. I hope I explained things good for you. I do plan on doing more of these videos that I'll get in and do some short ones where I pick one of the laws that we haven't gone over and kind of delve into it and explain it a little better. That way you can just watch short videos instead of maybe doing it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But without the knowledge of how our SID runs, I should say how our SID is governed by the law, which dictates how they should be running the SID. We can't ask our commissioners to comply with the law if we don't have that knowledge. And I think it's simple enough, and the law that we'll be going over isn't that huge where you got to spend hours of reading. It's just it's pretty easy to get through. But I mean, with this knowledge, we can hopefully get our current SID operating the way it should be. Or at least that's what I hope. I really do. I mean, we've had enough lawsuits, so I don't want to see us go. I don't want to see somebody come in and file a suit. But anyhow, so my contact information's no secret. It's out there. It's been out there. At the bottom there, you got my phone number. There's my email address. You can call and text me. If you can look for me on Facebook and message me. Just make sure you message Dave Gerger, not David. David is my dad on Facebook. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm retired, so I've got time. Any questions, feel free to give me a holler. Y'all have a good night. God bless you.